All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Story in Verse. Woo! My name is Brass Rabbit, and I'll be your host for this evening. I am so excited to see you all here. Our theme for this evening, as all of you should absolutely know, is You Can't Be Serious. It's written on this piece of paper. I didn't just make that up. We have been planning this for months. We can't wait to hear what you have to say. If you did not know that we had this theme, we've been planning it for months, that's okay. It's fine. You can get up here. You don't have to. It's okay. It's fine. As long as just about everybody, you can get up here. It's okay. As far as our audience today, it does seem like we are all adults here, which is very exciting. That means that you can use language that's kind of expressive. If you have curse words in your pieces, you can feel free to use them. We don't have any children in attendance today. What we do ask, though, at the Arts Council of Princeton is that any hate speech or graphic violence, anything that you know that shouldn't happen in the Arts Council of Princeton, you just shouldn't be bringing onto the stage. We always do a great job of that, but I have to say it just in case. I want to give an extremely big thank you to Melissa and the Arts Council of Princeton and the whole gang here. They work super hard. They stay late. They have like 9 to 5 jobs, and then they're stuck here with us until 9 or so. Their generosity abounds, and we are so grateful to have them. We're so grateful to have this space stay open late for us as well. I cannot wait to hear what you guys have to say. We also have some micro stories, which I will be sprinkling in between each performer as a bit of a palate cleanser. If anyone feels so inspired by the work that they hear and you did not put your name in the hat, you do have a little bit of a window where you can just run up something and hand it to me. That could be a micro story, or that could be your name as a performer and you'd like to share. There might be a point where I have to cut that off just for time's sake, but if you are so inspired that you're just like, I gotta get up there right now, that is going to be an option for a little while. All right, up next to the mic for some spoken word, please give a very warm welcome to Dylan Washington. Dylan, come on up.
All right, so what's up? I'm trying to be on theme. This piece is a little less serious. Most of the stuff, all right, it's a little more serious. Always think about like financial justice, and this isn't so serious. Okay, and it's called kind of like my dreams of being like a rapper. It's called braggadocious. All right. Yeah. Another 9-to-5er on the mic line. Fuck it, give me 45 for blowing up a pipeline. Cross me, you'll meet death in a verse. Mic so hot, it reversed the heat death of the universe. Just a cyclops, battling the psyops. Like hip hop, I don't stop. Ego tripping, elevating minds, eloquently within these lines. Nerds play with AR gimmicks. My ancestors studied astrophysics. These days, questioning the geopolitic. They want us to pick a side, so Eurocentric. Never needed Carl to teach a brother to share. Since I was young, been fighting cause shit ain't fair. In class, I'd throw fists in chairs. Now, I just throw a fist in the air. I had a dream, I'd retire with 15 million merits, but freedom requires that I shoot the sheriff. Breaking down these social constructs. Who cares if they don't like my conduct? They sell in slavery with extra steps. I'm telling the truth with no regrets. This soapbox, it ain't for racing, alfalfa. Trying to cure the world, Mafalda. Thank you.
All right, oh, you are taller than me. Tell us about a time you were in disbelief. My sister got married and announced it randomly at dinner. All right, up next to the mic with the story, please put your hands together for Jennifer Hayden. Jennifer, come on up.
What I'm afraid will happen is this. I'll turn to my husband, to whom I will have been married for 400 years, thanks to modern medicine, and I'll say, hey, remember that time we lived in that tiny home and only spoke French for a summer? My husband will pound his cane on the floor. You batshit old broad, we did not. Come on, we made a refrigerator out of dirt. You remember? That was a YouTube channel, he'll bark. How many times do I have to tell you? That French maniac who lived in the woods. Oh, yeah, I'll say, letting off some ladylike gas. Alexandre. Must have been the summer I took French and was too old to learn it. So I tried to take it in through my pores, watching this adorable guy with the perfect accent and zero carbon footprint. But living on Svalbard, that was nice, I'll say to my husband. That little off-grid cabin facing the sea. That time the polar bear was walking around our neighborhood and a helicopter had to scare it off. Phew, good thing we were so buff after all our hikes on the glaciers. God damn it, you addled old fossil. When were you and I ever buff, he'll holler. No, think about it. How would we even go about hiking a glacier? And do you really think I would have lived with you on an island near the Arctic Circle when I couldn't hack an Airbnb in Vermont? All right, keep your sweatpants on. Shit, woman, they had a YouTube channel. You talked about nothing but polar bears for months. I do remember at one point having a lot of polar bears. There was one made of crystal that looked like ice, and the adorable string of party lights that were all walking in the same direction across our dark kitchen window, as if they were crossing a frozen fjord. However, I'm sure we lived on a narrowboat cruising along the UK canals. Don't you remember? I can't help bursting out. We went everywhere, taking turns opening and closing the locks. We were so young and lithe, like cats, and such good sports about the rain. I don't even know how to run a boat, my husband will say, leaning back, and neither, with a thump of his cane, do you. Well, I loved our cruising days, I'll insist. It was beautiful and simple. I hated it when we bought the van and sold the boat so we could fix up the van and live in it. And then we bought the other, bigger van and started fixing that up and put the first van up for sale. And then we had to explain to our viewers how we'd gotten ourselves into a transpo off-grid lifestyle frenzy that just wasn't working out. My husband will say, our viewers? That's when it'll hit me that I can't remember the smell of the chives I used to cut from the plant up in the bow, or the taste of the pizza my husband made in the tiny galley oven. How could I have forgotten that? But I have. It's like I never ate it. I never ate it. I was out here on the other side of the screen. I was wondering how to live. I mean, I'd lived. I was living. I had a lifestyle and everything. But I wasn't sure if this was the one I meant to pick. I'd always loved making forts when I was small. I loved sleeping in a boat bunk when I was little. And travel, I'd done some of it with my family when I was a kid, but not as a grown-up due to lack of funds. Quick, I'll sob, clutching my husband's bony hand. You were always better at this. Remember something we did do. Tell me what you remember. He could give me our honeymoon in Savannah, our kids' graduations, our son's wedding. So much living we did. Yes, we did, I remember. Instead, he'll stroke his long white beard and say, what comes back to me most clearly are the campfires, the tents with beds made out of hay, the sound of cannons in the distance. What? When I was a soldier and you were a camp follower and you cooked food while I cleaned my rifle because the Union Army gave us nothing but hardtack. I told you to stop watching all those Civil War CDs during your martini hour. Oh my God, the sad lone fiddle player sawing away. Where was he, under a haystack? Even I know you weren't a Yankee soldier, and I sure as shit wasn't rustling up rat fricassee for you on the camp grill. Just shut up, you shut up. Jesus, wow. Silence. So back to my original question, he'll say, picking up the remote. What do you want to watch?
All right, up next to the mic, a very warm welcome for a poem by James. James, come on up.
Well, I've always been one for irony, so I'm going to hope that you guys are okay with the fact that I missed the prompt. So maybe the "you can't be serious" will come from you tonight. I actually have two, if that's okay. They are short. Okay. I like to do little prompts for fun, so hopefully you'll like this. Rose, sword, bridge. How do you make a poem out of that? Wary are the men who lay down their arms, though joy's in the heart that trade swords in for farms. Hacking and slashing, though wheat now, not foes. Harrows replace soldiers as men walk down long rows. Peacetime grants not its name to survivors. Content with the quiet, those who did must be. Oxen then plow, and followed by drivers, that which they receive is their acre of wheat. No chariot now does the rider adorn, a wagon instead, with wheels for burden, not speed. No battlefield or trench or danger to heed, but rather the course of a winding road long worn. Different forever will their view ever be. A new perspective hard won now shades all that they see. The path winds ever onward and now over stream. The mind races back as if entranced in a dream. A river lays running, water barring passage, eyes scanning the next ridge, searching for threats that aren't there. Strange is the feeling, or lack thereof, no tension on the air. Wary are those who cross over that new bridge. This one's a little more fun, I promise. Clowns like snow. Attention is the catalyst, but discomfort starts the process. Unease gives way to strong aversion, and fear at last is where it ends. Taking shape along consistent lines, falling into place to our ego binds. A layer forming a top sense of self, until at last a phobia beheld. No two are ever quite alike, when regarded with discern. Molded each by unique psyche, distinctive quirks become learned. When one pale face turns another like so, terror gleams scarlet, like an ugly red nose. Mouth drops agape, voice caught in the throat. True horror is silent, like fresh fallen snow. This revulsion ubiquitous, but to each fear their own. Whether party big top or circus, the same crop is sown. While they wear false smiles, for us it is an imparted frown. Our tongues may be muted, yet in agreement we say, clowns.
All right, up next to the mic, we have a performer who wanted us to know it's their second time reading. And they did something that's really fun. They made an exclamation mark with a heart at the bottom. Please give a very warm welcome to Carol Hoffman. Carol, come on up.
I'm very short. Let's see. Okay, I think I did it. I'll move this. The poem that I'm going to read is based on a film that I had seen entitled A Little Princess. It was from 1995, produced by, or created by Warner Brothers, and it was based on the 1905 novel by Frances Hodgson Burnett, who also wrote The Secret Garden and Little Lord Fauntleroy. I've seen this many times, and I wrote the poem, and it still speaks to me. She was sad. A candle flickered beneath her. Let me start again. She was sad. A candle flickered beside her. Pigeons cooed above. A circle drawn with chalk surrounded her. She slept on the floor, damp by rain, the magic gone. Once a princess and now an orphan, a reversal of life's fortune, her childhood in India and now a prisoner in an attic. She believed in fairy tales and magic. One just had to imagine. She had worn a long velvet cape, the table laden with food. Her heart was full. She remembered her father's words. They gave her hope. The next few poems I wrote recently, I lost two very dear friends, and I thought a lot about the word grief and realized that what I was feeling certainly was sadness, but it was more about love. These are very short, somewhat haiku-like. The first one that I'm going to read actually goes along with an entry that was accepted into an exhibit at the West Windsor Arts Center that will open on the 3rd of October. And the title will be there, the poem will be online. It won't be shown with the piece on display. Raindrop Tears and Memories. My gray sky, raindrop tears escape. Their blue sky memories float, embrace, comfort. Another, memories echo feather-like, lovingly drift, changing color as they soar in my mind's eye. The next goes with a friend who had a cat that she loved. She adored her warm companion, meows comforted, loyal to the very end. Feelings well up, emblazoned by clouds, memories of things past. And this is dedicated to the same friend who had the cat, who loves her cat. It's about love, not grief, about embracing and joy, perhaps for a second fleeting, then memories. Reflections of things past, the offer of iris, pale lavender near the doorstep, low-growing, delicate. We shared our love for life and flowers. That's it for tonight.
Getting a lot of drawings tonight. All right, our next performer would like us to know, tell your story, and if no one likes it, too bad. Follow on YouTube at A Benedict. Ladies and gentlemen, A Benedict.
How is everybody tonight? Good? Let's hear it for Brass. Come on. And let's hear it again for Melissa up there in the booth somewhere. And let's hear it for Fiona. There's Fiona. I'm going to read 3 quick ones. 2 of them are original, 2 of them are my own. And the other one I'm going to read is basically a tribute to one of my greatest inspirations and favorite musicians. So the first one, it's about change. It's called Things Change. Things can change quickly, like the snapping turn of a playing card, a spinning curveball, dropping at the plate, a fastball that's life-altering, thrown so hard. A sun-drenched picnic infiltrated by clouds, carrying bolts of lightning, cacophonous thunder, and torrents of rain. A wedding trip down the aisle, leading to a lawyer's office and a courtroom judgment full of pain. Things can change fast, like the summer wind in August melting into a cool northwestern evening breeze, quieting crickets, cutting through the heavy humidity's morning mist. A choppy sea throwing challenges onto shores scorned with seashells coating purity, peace, and tranquility, offering frothy new waves ebbing and flowing. Finding abandonment as your only friend, leaping over bridges you burned, more bridges than drops flowing in the Nile since the river first churned. Things have changed. They never stay the same. You try to tinker and cheat the rules as they smiled, but you're stuck playing a losing game filled with shame, even when one-eyed jacks are wild. Thank you. Okay, Van Morrison is a big influence of mine, the musician Van Morrison. He was born August 31st, 1945. He just turned 80 years old, so Sir Van, this is an homage to you. In 1991, he came out with the album Hymns to the Silence, and this is a poem, actually a spoken word called On Hindford Street, about where he grew up in East Belfast, Northern Ireland. Take me back. Take me way, way, way back on Hindford Street, where you could feel the silence at 11:30 on long summer nights as the radio played and the voices whispered across Beachy River in the quietness as we sank into restful slumber and carried on, dreaming in God. And walks up Cherry Valley Road to Northbridge, railway line on sunny summer afternoons, picking apples from the side of the tracks that spilled over from the gardens of the houses on Cypress Avenue, playing round Mrs. Kelly's lamp, going out to Hollywood on the bus, and walking from the end of the lines to the seaside, stopping at Fusco's for ice cream in the days before rock and roll. Hindford Street, a better parade, Orangefield, St. Donald's Church, Sunday 6 bells. And in between the silence, there was conversation and laughter and music and singing and shivers up the back of the neck. Going up the Castlereagh Hills and the Craigie Glens in summer and coming back to Hindford Street, feeling wondrous and lit up inside with a sense of everlasting life. Over and over again, voices echoing late at night over Beachy River, and it's always being nigh. And it's always being nigh. It's always nigh. Can you feel the silence? Thank you. Okay, and the last one is called Attic Residence. That's R-E-S-I-D-E-N-T-S, not like a attic is the residence. So Attic Residence. Standing alone in darkness, opening a wooden chest, gazing at ghosts appearing from my translucent past. A thin, solitary moonbeam slicing through the small attic window, illumination now cast. Shaking and shuddering, living within this haunting, revealing ancient conversations with Pop, blatantly ignored, answered by his belt, defining his wrath, which I invariably incurred till he stopped. Spirits from my days long gone, blanketing my senses, brightening the dark night of my soul. Finality and forgiveness bubbling up in a fountain overflowing, beckoning me to forget as redemption starts growing. Ghostly memories rekindling friendships that departed years earlier, accompanied by a sigh, moments relived and sung through sleepless nights, unemotional, arid eyes, unable to cry. The moonbeam fading, melting, vanishing into the floor of the old wood rustic attic, closing the wooden chest, stuffing away the ghosts and memories that never left. Your best. Thank you.
Tell us about a time you were in disbelief. I once had to walk home in the snow. It was May. All right, up next for a story, please give a very warm welcome to Dwyer Jones. Dwyer, come on up.
For the last several months, I've been commenting online, and I've gotten about 820 followers. One of them is a young woman, 43 years old, from Grove, Oklahoma, and she's a MAGA. And she has on her profile page, I am an unfiltered conservative who loves to talk to liberals. So I thought, you can't be serious, but she was. I contacted her. I got her to call me. We spent about a half an hour on the phone while she was driving to work. Now, this woman has been a firefighter and an EMT for 12 years. She holds 4 degrees. She writes English very well, and she was married to a guy who beat her up and who she prosecuted, sent to prison, and divorced. She now works as a heavy equipment operator, and to me, it's like, wow, competence is really sexy. And also, this woman is living the feminist dream: independence, self-will, etc. So I was talking to her and texting back and forth, and she was talking about how hard it was working out in the sun, operating a skip loader to cut channels for wells. So I said, well, if I was your house guest, I'd be happy to make you dinner when you came home because you wouldn't working so hard. She said, no, that would make me feel like crap because women are supposed to wait on men hand and foot. Once again, I thought, you cannot be serious. But what's happening right here is what so many women have to live with, which is you live with being independent and you live with the way you were raised. And she was raised a right-wing Christian. Now, this is a person who was totally a Trump supporter, but then the Charlie Kirk murder happened. Now, I don't know what you think about him, but having gone through the Kennedy, RFK, Dr. King, Malcolm X murders, no, murder is no damn good. You want the people here so you can argue with them. And this is what, oh, it came off here. And one of the reasons that I comment is that I'm trying to do something subversive peacemaking. I'm trying to change the way people think, especially the people who think directly opposite from me. So we had this exchange, and what I've seen happen is that she's changing. And this is what she wrote just today about in response to somebody saying the usual thing, the right wing are Nazis, et cetera, et cetera. This is what she said. This is exactly what Charlie Kirk fought for. You have the right to say what you would like and voice your personal opinions as long as they don't threaten anybody and are not slanderous. Charlie is rolling over in his grave right now because of all the attacks a lot of the left are getting for their freedom of expression. He advocated for people to have conversations and try and find unity instead of attacking each other. My view on the situation is the polar opposite of yours, the one who called Nazis, but I respect your opinion, and I'm not going to report you like a lot of us Republicans are doing, which has gotten a lot of teachers and other people fired because they expressed their free opinion for or against Kirk. I think it's also ridiculous that Jimmy Kimmel was canceled. He never threatened anybody in his monologue and just expressed his personal feelings and opinions, which he has a right to do under the Constitution. Censorship is getting out of hand, and we need to unite on both sides to fight for that constitutional right. Now, this is a person who thinks that Princeton is a place where everybody is marching around all days with hammer and sickle flags. They have a total fantasy about this. But this is a real American. This is an ally. This is somebody who knows what free speech matters. And that's all I have to say about it. Thank you.
I love that you have the energy to do that. Thank you for doing that. All right, up next, our performer would like us to know. My birthday was a couple days ago. I can't imagine a better way of kicking off being, I'm gonna just assume that this says 35. If it isn't, okay. All right, It's just like, handwriting today. I can't imagine a better way of kicking off being 35 than being here at Story in Verse. Please put your hands together for Stephanie Schwiedek. Stephanie! Ladies and gentlemen!
Thank you. It's very hard to follow that up. But I did also want to note how this month's prompt does feel so poignant to our current moment, right? I don't know about everyone else, but I do assume we all maybe feel similar. But each morning I wake up and I make myself a cup of coffee and turn on the news. I say to myself, really, America, you can't be serious, right? Right? The cruelty, the hypocrisy, the exhaustion, it feels never ending. But, that's the point. Thank you for your rigorous, what you're doing. It's so important. And, what we do here, sharing our stories, our voices, right, it's necessary. It's necessary. And I'm so fortunate to be a part of it with all of you. With that said, my piece for tonight deals with my aging mother. She is an immigrant from Czechoslovakia, where she herself experienced communism and authoritarianism until she left to move to West Germany in the 1970s, and eventually made her way to America in 1990. And now she kind of is, her sunset years are living out the things that we're experiencing here now. Her progressive dementia and her upbringing are both inspirations for this work that I've titled Pheasant Under a Fur Coat. You can't be. You can't. You, mother of time and various storms, your bloodline veiled, the roots deep, knotted and rotted beneath, a ravaged landscape that shakes and breaks, no longer visible, erased. You speak in tongues and walk in shuffles. You dream in waves, then smoke and smile, dancing to music no one else can hear. Your mind shifting black like the ocean at midnight, but with brief twinkles in between. A pheasant under a fur coat, standing at the precipice of your mortality, wrinkles in your face, your hands, your arms, deepening. You, mother of memory and various thorns, a construct trapped in an hourglass, your recollections trickle down like grains of sand. How can we understand your story if it's never been recorded? Bury your ribs in the ground and make you a tree, so you may shade me in the heat, while I listen to your leaves that rustle in the wind, and pull me back to a vision of Ring Around the Rosie, where we're living and we're running and we're hoping, and then we're spinning and spinning and spinning, and we hit the ground laughing, followed by screaming, for we all fall down. Because you, mother of love in its various forms, a guileless soul, like stars, starting out bright, but with no thoughts of how far we go. Beyond the trees, the mountains are shrinking, and so you sat in the woods, watching and waiting, carrying the weight of a second heart and the memories of Eastern Europe's oppressions, like Russian nesting dolls. But we're in the present, and the news playing out in front of us. Your bony hand lifted, and then you push back your frail white hair, your softened glare fixed on mine, your deep brown eyes, saying more than words could ever speak, signaling you can't be serious. Thank you.
All right, up next with a poem, please give a warm welcome to Samir. Samir, come on up.
Good evening. So you can ask the Almighty whether he's serious or not, right? Or he or she is serious or not. So this is my attempt at that. It's called Angels, by the way. So it's a quiet ride back on the filled to the brim train. It's been a warm evening and you begin to unwind. then you feel an all-embracing love for all sitting around as the golden sphere manifests itself, binding us all together into a seamless, undifferentiated whole of white, soft light. This is the message of the angels: love unequivocally, without reservation, without bias. Just welcome all into your heart. And though there is a sad tinge to the leaving, being cleaved from each other, this is the ultimate truth. We are all one, wherever we go or are. We are a fragment of the Almighty, whoever we are, man, animal, creature, or plant. You don't have to see them. You don't need to reaffirm whether they're of any specific religion. It does not matter whether they have wings or not. They are a message from the extremely loving God who created us all. And as you realize how much the singular God and his, her pantheon love us all, there is a final riddle which remains unexplained. If we are loved so much, why are we created to constantly suffer? It can't be a play or a cosmic joke. The suffering is unbearable for most, and realizing that is to be set completely free. Until then, savor the gift of the angels and let go of all prejudice and lower emotions. Take the love as a benediction, which it is, and assimilate the essence of the unseen ones, a complete immersion. Thank you.
I just have like 5 of these little pieces of paper, and it's just like, what does that say? What do you mean? What does that say? Goodness gracious. So if anybody wants to be like a volunteer, you can sit next to me throughout all of these events, and then you can say, I think that's what that says. Because sometimes I Google things to be like, is this? And then Google will be like, I think that's supposed to be Jonathan. And then I'll be like, oh my God, that is supposed to be Jonathan. But like Google doesn't even know what's happening today, so we're gonna do our best. All right, and this is not for the next performer. This is just the amalgamation of us today as a unit. We are not doing too well with the pens. Can you please give a very warm welcome to our next performer, who will be sharing a poem, Mr. Nicolo. Nicolo, come on up.
Hey everybody, very nice to be back. It's been a little while since I've been here. This is, feels good to be back in the routine. So I was looking through my poems that I wrote over the summer and trying to settle on something that had some sense of humor to it. And I was like, oh, but tried to pick out some, mostly in the realm of the absurd, right? So here we go. This one's called Haystack. There, in the carpet, glinting in the sunbeam's sharp relief, is the needle we forgot we were looking for. Quick, shrink with me to the size of a seahorse, and we can yank it free like Excalibur, brandish it against bust-sized spiders. As a child, I sliced my foot on a carpet tack. The blood flowed through the valley of my arch like a creek. To let it heal, my mother made me keep my shoes on all summer. They squeaked like mice when waterlogged, plotting their tracks across the threshold. Tongues lolling where the laces let go. Granted, this was in the forest. Anything could have appeared astride an emerald donkey. The trick is to approach with a carrot, never from behind. I knew a girl who nearly died from the kick. Its hoof left an impression on her, a seed-shaped scar like a stamp, to hold down the frayed edges of her being. Thank you. Okay. This one is called Recollection, Laundry. Run your thumb beneath my shirt seams and flip back ancient history. Laparoscope scar across my belly. Once in primordial time, we were pufferfish. You surprised me around a coral corner, and I exploded in spite of myself. We about died laughing. Or, in the more recent dark ages, as a local lord and yourself a serf exchanged a glance across your grain pile unbefitting of my eminence, and I ordered your fingertips burned away with fire. That one really put the despair in disparity. I laughed, and you for once didn't. Wait, don't go narrowing your eyes at me like that. You know I only seek a moment's amusement, a bolt of lightness before the big wheel grinds back into gear, and we look at each other like we're entering a party in the same outfit and say, well, someone's got to change. Thanks. See? Someone kind of has a punchline, right? All right. I'll close up with this one. This is called Several Knowns, Known and Unknown, aka Capricorn Considers the Sea. We float awash in identifiers, yet there are no more swashbuckling literary men. I am, at best, a shrub at the base of the driveway, you, a forgotten cup of coffee. One excellent way to piss off your parents is the dark arts. Too good for their own good, as it happens, our hexes encircling the castle in a haze of distraction. Maybe one day we will emerge from the metaphor us is into a new skin that looks just like the old one. Then our myriad couplings can have an inside, an outside, and an each, and a torch to pass down or read by the pictures painted on the walls, so pretty. Maybe then I'll be less prickly, and you can finally finish what you started. There's plenty of wind left in the bag, but it keeps changing direction. I never was a sailor, fingers too stupid for the bowline, the half hitch. The granny knot's more apt anyway for this sunset, late light bent double, orange and losing its aura, refracted by the cramped prism of this ceramic diner cup, our spirit's saline nut brown sea. Thank you.
Everybody's taller than I am. All right. Tell us about a time you were in disbelief. When I thought I couldn't, but I achieved the impossible. Yeah. All right. Up next to the mic, we have a storyteller who's graced this stage quite a good deal. I cannot, unfortunately, read what this person wrote underneath of what they want us to know, but they're going to let you know. Everybody put your hands together for Suzanne. Suzanne, get on up here.
Hello. I didn't listen at all to the theme, but everything I say is pretty funny, kind of, sort of. So, yeah, and I think it said, I give great clavicle. That's what that word was. I give great clavicle. And I was a horrible wife, and I'm single. Anyway, that's what it said. So my story tonight is not really a story. I'm actually going to do a little show and tell. I'm not going to pass it around the room for everybody. Okay, so this is my mom in a jar. We'll put her right there. So her birthday is this week. She's going to have a birthday on the 21st. She passed away in April. And this is not the funny part. And so I brought her here because many of you know, if you've heard the story before, that she and I had kind of a rough relationship. But that's because, I knew her different from other people, right? I saw her as the mom who forgot to give me a name and, whatever. Instead of giving me that scoliosis brace we needed, she went to Jamaica, and those kind of charming little things, the mom who dressed me and my best friend up as ladies of the evening for Halloween one year when we were 8. And we were like, trick or treat, we're ladies of the evening. Well, Julie was never allowed to play at my house again. I'll just have you know that. So I knew her as that mom, right? But there were other people that knew her as other things, right? Like I always say about my ex-husband, 2 other people married him after me, so other people know him, So she was a person who had, friends and a life and stuff that maybe I was never even privy to because she didn't like me that much. So what I thought I would do tonight, because I did write a lovely sorry. What's it called? Biography, autobiography, obituary, that one. I wrote her obituary, and it's stunning. And I hope that you guys can listen to it or hear it, because I'm about to read it to you. I'll give you the cliff notes. With an ear towards, this is not my mom or a mom who has failed, because if anybody's a mom in this room, who hasn't failed, right? So not like that, with an ear toward, this is a woman named Pat, okay? All right, so, okay. Pat Johnson Mancinelli died Wednesday, April 9th, 2025 at 6 p.m. Exactly. She would say that she would ask that you make a notation in the log, because for many years, she had remembered things by writing them down on endless pieces of paper. For instance, a $10 receipt for front porch paint from Bow's Hardware from 1987, which does not help for tax purposes, but helps you understand Pat. Perhaps you knew her. If you lived on Pleasant Street or Wells Road in West Hartford, you surely did. She was the person walking Olivia Rachel, her beloved and cantankerous dachshund, or the equally barky Foxy and waving at all of the neighbors. She lived at 26 Pleasant Street her entire life and raised her daughter and a million cats there. She knew everybody's names, but after a time needed to write them down in a notebook with an entry like Betty, fourth house down on the left, blue with white shutters, dog named Buster. People were important to her, but her memory was not great and became the thing that knocked her over, literally. She was predeceased by her husband, John Mancinelli, whom she loved dearly and who made her giggle, and for whom she willingly made muffins while singing and served them to him on the potty. True story. They were adorable, and there were crumbs around the toilet. Grandma Pat leaves blah, 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 people, right? We'll leave that part. Oh, but then it says, but most of all, she leaves a shit ton of friends too numerous to mention. She worked at Aetna for a long time, taught motorcycle training for a while, and schlepped people from nursing homes to doctor's appointments with joy and compassion. She loved animals and worked with TNR stray cats to spay and neuter, trap and release to the uninitiated. Here she would remind you to do this as well. But her avocation was traveling to the Cape of Vermont or to the beach with her friends Lois, Rosa, and Dave, among others. And sometimes she just sat on the front lawn with a fire pit and with whomever sauntered by, and they became friends too. And there were tag sales. Lots of tag sales so people would gather, and they did. It's almost done, I swear. They will miss her singing, her laughter, her neighborly waves, and her welcome home flauntings. They will miss her spirit for not following the rules, like when she wore flannel shirts along with dangling earrings, best adorned with bells or lights. For singing karaoke unabashedly at the Butterfly Restaurant on Farmington Avenue. For buying a motorcycle in middle life to head to a beach, any beach, because she felt like it. Or for hanging a zillion wind chimes and gewgaws on her gingerbread front porch. They will miss her determination to chase the sunset or watch fireworks, and sing with her strong and beautiful voice the star-spangled banner at the top of her lungs, probably while taking a shot or two of Fireball. She would do those things and not care if you liked it or not, but mostly they will miss her because you could not help but like Pat. She was a gift and a blessing and will be sorely missed. On Wednesday, April 9th at precisely 6 p.m., John welcomed her to the heavenly dance floor after too many years undanced, and I know she's giggling right now. Almost done. There will be a graveside service at 2 p.m. on Monday, April 25th. If you come, please wear any color but black or gray, and in lieu of flowers, please make a donation to the Animal Friends of Connecticut or drop in at a nursing home to talk with someone who needs a visitor. She would love that, and she hopes you dance. So I'm saying all that because on Sunday I'm going to Connecticut to sit at a fire pit with my mom's full fart friends, and I bought everybody a t-shirt that says Fireball made me do it. And we're going to sit around the fire pit and we're going to throw bits of my mom into the fire. And it would have been her 80th birthday, it's her first heavenly birthday. And I will say that I did talk to her recently while I was in prayer, and she wants me to assure you that she's in heaven and Charlie Kirk is not in residence. That's all I have. Thank you.
Tell us about a time you were in disbelief that my wife took my hand in marriage. All right. Up next to the mic, we have a poet who is also a singer. Please give a very warm welcome to Richard. Richard, come on up.
Hey guys. This is titled Destiny's Eruption. 5 foot big and tall, smart and kind, no one can compare to anyone at all. Right and to the left, left and to the right. A hop and a skip, a beat of my heart skips a million beats. A beat and a thump, a drum like thunder, that calms 1,000 storms out at sea. A twirl and a whirl, a bubble and a blast. The girl with the wand, she's becoming whole again. Again, 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 and again. At last, the princess's voice is restored. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Aisha!
Hi there. I wanted to say the lyrics to the song, the Temptation song, My Girl. So I'm just going to read it. My Girl. Okay. I've got sunshine on a cloudy day. When it's cold outside, I've got the month of May. I guess you'd say, what can make you feel this way? My girl. Talking about my girl. I've got so much honey, the bees envy me. I've got a sweeter song than the birds in the trees. I guess you'd say, what can make you feel this way? My girl, talking about my girl. Hey, 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 ooh. I don't need no money, fortune, or fame. I've got all the riches, baby, one man can claim. I guess you'd say, what can make you feel this way, my girl? Talking about my girl. I've got sunshine on a cloudy day with my girl. I've got the month of May with my girl. And that's it.
My girl, talking about my girl. Oh, wait. Oh, should we start doing that, though? We don't have an intermission. We all just kind of start, like, someone just starts singing, and then we all try to, like, carry along. All right. Up next to the mic, we have a poem. Our next performer wanted us to know, I am making orange sherbet tomorrow. Please put your hands together for William Beck. William, come on up. Where are you? There you are.
Hi, everybody. Please give it up for our last performer, please. And of course, please give it up for the Arts Council and Brass Rabbit. And Mark, wherever the heck he is. Oh, well, you just have to know. And maybe one day you'll meet him. We don't know. So we're going to get it started. This is the heart of inspiration. In the early morning hours of the mind's desperation, away from more mindful ministrations, when blood chills and causes cold perspiration, lies the heart of inspiration. From the sacred altar of the heart's protestations, or the stab of betrayal's depredations, through the halls of the darkest ruminations, lies the heart of my soul's inspiration. From the airy heights of love's visitations to the dungeons of fear's usurpations, lies the heart of my inspiration. If you wait for an invitation, an undeserved visitation, then you might lead a vain life of artistic frustration, waiting for the embrace of sweet inspiration. But if you toil away, wet with perspiration, bending your ideas to your interpretation, for your forlorn heart's expectations, then you may be blessed by the sweet kiss of inspiration. Thank you. We're coming up on Halloween. It's like my favorite time of year. And so I've got all kinds of spooky stuff for next month. But this is sort of sort of like a Twilight Zone-y kind of poem. This is the miracle of the unseeming. Where the broodlings of your mind are teeming, where the soul's prisoners where your soul's prisoners of the labyrinth are scheming, where the rays of the black sun are beaming, lies the miracle of the unseeming. Where the werewolf's eyes are gleaming, where the tears of God are streaming, and the wails of fallen angels are keening, lies the miracle of the unseeming. Through the cells of the mind unfreeing to the core of your ecstatic being, in the eyes of the galactic tempest unseeing, through spectral forests of unbeing, lies the miracle of the unseeming. Thank you. Well, we say Brass Rabbit. We have time for one more? Okay. Okay, this last one, I think, I know at Willingboro, one of the ladies there that runs the Willingboro open mic, this is one of her favorites. And so I always say, you know, if you want to know how to write a perfect poem, this is it. I've got the method. Here it is. So this is how to write a perfect poem. First, set a very specific purpose for your poem. Then do a free write and write about everything that comes to mind. The general, the specific, the concrete, the abstract, the acceptable, the taboo. Allow your wandering mind to write down every little thing. Go back to your free write and look for perfect, polished lines. Polish these lines, highlight them. And put them, wrapped in a bow of perfectly pure artistic intentions, into a poem. Now throw it away. Now go back and find those imperfect lines slithering across the page, rancid with anger, seething with rage, concrete images expressing abstract emotions. Find the kind of awkward images that crawl into your head and lay eggs of inspiration. Keep all of these and keep writing like this for about 20 years, and someday you'll probably have some halfway decent poetry. Thank you.
So, like many of you, I get many texts from the people who attend this event. And oftentimes when people can't make it, they'll email me very, very late at night, the night of, and go, I can't believe it was tonight. I forgot, or I didn't know. And sometimes people will just contact me immediately during the actual event. And we all just got a message from Mr. Michael DeMann. And if you don't know who Michael DeMann is, he's the guy, and he sounds like this, and he yells a lot. Michael DeMann is a wonderful person. He has curly hair and he likes to yell. He's a very talented spoken word artist. And he just said, yo, thinking about you, fam. Hope you're having a great show. I became a Freemason recently, and they're killing my Thursday nights, but I'll see you again soon. And I've been thinking of something that has put me in disbelief, and just the idea of Michael Demand yelling as a Freemason. One, it makes a lot of sense, but I was not expecting that to happen tonight. So we wish you well, Michael. All right, let me see. Up next to the mic, please give a very warm welcome to Athira. Athira, come on up.
Hi, everybody. It's good to be here today. So I didn't really stick to the theme this time, but I took like a few steps adjacent to the theme. So the next two poems that I want to perform today is more on the themes of like mild wonder, whimsy, dreamlike, those words. This one doesn't have a name, but I lay in a field of dandelions, making wishes upon the summer clouds, drifting aimlessly across the sky. Then I see her, so curious, sat at the edge of a wafting cloud, her feet dangling, gazing down at me. She waved and beckoned, smiling. I think of you, of all the spaces you carelessly waltz through, your chemtrails, a field of crimson red, that I trace in vain with my fingertips. It's nicer here, I hear a voice in my head. Weightless, I think I could float, wanting a soft place to land, to hold my bleeding edges in its mist of dreamy oblivion. The dandelions around me sway slowly in the wind, turning quiet and watchful. I sink deeper, feeling their powdery tendrils hold on to me in tender care. I smile and just wave back and watch as she drifts out of sight. That's it. The next one's called Thoughts on an August Saturday Morning. These days, I wake up to find you in my arms, the two of us squeezed into a corner, my corner, of the queen-sized bed, where you made the journey across over the night to find me 1 foot at a time. Your face to my shoulder, your skin to my skin, your arms wrapped tightly around my waist, and I don't dare move. Though my arm has gone numb and I'm suffocating slowly under you, normally so strong and big, now so vulnerable, so childlike, in your desperate need for me. And I think my heart might just break, but I lay there, not moving, holding my breath, wondering at the stars that led me to you. They say that life can change in a day, and I try to remember the day, but I can't. So I just pull you in closer, listen to your steady breath, etching the scene in my heart before this August comes to an end in a sun-drenched heartbeat. Thank you.
Tell us about a time you were in disbelief. When I finally broke out of my shell, when I left who I thought I needed to be, and when I embraced who I really am now. All right, up next to the mic for a poem, please put your hands together for Mark. Mark, come on up.
Hello, thank you again for listening. What I've done to protect my balance and homeostasis and sensitivity throughout the years is I imagine like an exoskeleton, so like a lobster, and it's gotten me very far. But at times, some knowledge pierces that, or a blunt idea hits it and cracks me open, and I'm raw. And I was reading the news, and this one fact just got me, and these 3 poems came from it. The fact was that 70% of the death in Ukraine is by drones, and this came out of that. The familiar time of now. As the drum's march calls all hatred to uniformity. Fact and science are pushed aside by visual opinion and repeated ignorance. The eagles shadow their hunting ground, looking for helpless prey beyond hunger's need. The rich once again claim that the poor are stealing by wanting a livable wage. Drones complete 70% of the killing with technology's pride of disconnected accuracy. Overwhelmed, we must resist, but powerless, wait for the total, inevitable destruction. Building again from architecture's ashes, a compassionate human heart. Thank you. This one is called I Can't Close My Eyes. And if you want to, you can join in. As people are arrested for the non-crime of wanting a chance, I can't close my eyes. The thought that having a gun is more important than a child's lives, I can't close my eyes. When prices choke and strain the food pantry supply, I can't close my eyes. Again, the ancient death conflict of different beliefs takes the world's stage. I can't close my eyes. As I watch the military's bloody parade for resources that can and will soon be technologically obsolete, I can't close my eyes. Funds for research and intellectual advancements only flow through the funnel of hate. I can't close my eyes. When TikTok dances and wanting to be an influencer takes precedent over contributing to your community and world, I can't close my eyes. As speech transitions to less than sharing of ideas and the openness of learning, morphing into limited, acceptable ways of thinking, I can't close my eyes. Lying in bed, I wait for sleep to revive me and purify my vision with energetic hope. But I can't close my eyes. Thank you. This is a short one. A sense of difference. Sometimes the world seems suddenly different. Events transfer their energy to create an incubation of new space, forever changing what was into what now is, like a new, unwanted birth. And your only connection is nostalgia and the memories of hope. Thank you.
Tell us about a time you were in disbelief when Donald Trump was reelected after January 2020. All right, up next to the mic, we've got 3 people left, so we're winding on down. Please give a very warm welcome to some spoken word by Janet Latoya. Janet, come on up.
All right, so I wrote this piece 33 minutes ago. Doing something new. This piece is entitled My 5 Reasons Why. This poem is about you. It wouldn't be worthwhile if I tell you I love you without telling you why. 1, you loved me before I knew who I was fully. When I couldn't love myself. When I couldn't see past my flaws, my makeup. You had already chosen me and made up your mind. 2, you loved me when I couldn't spell love, or better yet, describe it. I was enormously certain that love always meant big, in public, in money. Baby, you taught me that love is the small things, the listening ear, the details, the care, the intention in which you give anything. 3, you loved me when you were in the fight of your life. Winds whirling, no sun, everything was cloudy. You still gave me grace and did your best to hold me close. 4, you loved me when you had no reason to. When it wasn't reciprocal, when it was hard, when I was simply difficult. 5, you loved me in private. You loved me in whispers and out loud. You loved me when you had every reason not to. You loved me with your everything. Now is my turn. So, dear gracious Father in heaven, if you never gave me another blessing, that's okay. Because you've given me the greatest blessing that I could ever have or ask for. You gave me more than I could have prayed for, more than I could have dreamt of, more than I thought I was even worth it or worthy of having. Dear Lord, you gave me your daughter, the most beautiful, strong, wise, ladylike, poised, drop-dead gorgeous, humble, hard-working, leading, excellent, breathtaking, loyal, and loving woman in this world, the one I get to call mine. The one I get to walk with daily. The woman that I'm learning to cherish better, love more gently, as I create a safe haven for her heart to flow in, her mind to be at ease in, her spirit to be at peace, and her body to always be at joy. My love, Sonia, you are the best blessing that has ever happened to me, even when I didn't know it. And I'm so glad that I do now. Thank you, guys. I'm Janet Latoya, and thank you for being here.
All right, this is a very different note. Tell us about a time you were in disbelief. When my friend said, "He is not ideal, but something is better than nothing, and one must be practical at this age." Okay, you gotta read them all, you gotta get everything in there. All right, up next, we have a poem, and this performer would like us to know, just want to say, I am honored to be with such great poets and storytellers. Please put your hands together for Jeff Hansel. Jeff, come on up.
That last poem is why I wrote that. It's just wonderful to be here with everybody. And as far as the theme, I did not write these poems with a theme. These poems are all roughly 2.5, 3 years old. And I guess if I want to tie the theme in, it would be, if you really try to live your life bitterly with grief and shame and guilt, you can't be serious. This first one's called The Box. Go ahead, get in, it's comfortable. One size fits all. 4 walls and a roof, room for just one. In here, you can hide from the truth. You are protected from what's outside. In here, all your fears survive. They even grow, don't you know? Wake the fuck up. You're stronger than that. Stop living in the past. Stop living in shame. Stop being driven by guilt. Until you get out of that box, you'll continue to wilt. The choice is yours. Wake the fuck up. This next one is called, I got them numbered actually. This next one is called Growing Up. How can I say what I feel? Bereft of confidence, that's the deal. How could you? This sweet little boy, he barely felt loved. Emotions were your toy. You let him grow up, you let him play. Oh, the cost, still paying today. Do what you will, son, just don't offend. Only their feelings mattered in the end. A young, promising life, stolen by the years. Now a man held captive by his fears. In the driver's seat, holding the wheel, now a man, how can I not say how I feel? This one's called Harsh Words. My entire life, I've tried to be nice. Never made a scene, no matter how others treated me. I had to be polite. Inside or outside of the family, it was all the same. Get shit on and smile. Oh, how I hated that game. But now that I am older, with age comes wisdom, fortunately. I realized what I was doing was just short of insanity. Making others happy at the cost of my peace was just not sustainable. Daily, my anxiety increased. It felt good to finally take care of myself for a change. Taking responsibility for my happiness, people thought I was deranged. I made a conscious decision. It was them or me. I was finally free. The cost of this option was easy to bear. Just family derision. Believe me, that was not my goal. Just think of me as the man who saved his own soul. And this next to the last one is called Grief, a Burden. There's a word I'm looking for. It's not happy, it's not sad, it's not joyous, it's not mad. If there's a stage of grief called confusion, then that's where I am. Everyone grieves differently, I know, but this grief feels so, fill in the blank. You see, there I go. Maybe if I would just tackle my grief exactly how I feel and not superimpose another's feelings as I try to deal. I hate that this grief I must deal with alone. Is there something else with which I must atone? Having been used to carrying the emotions of others is really a burden. I just need to let go. That is the one thing of which I am certain. If I could just process their loss, I believe I would be okay, I guess. But all this processing is really a mess. I need help, but from who? I really don't need someone else telling me what to do. I don't like sharing on cue. That's what I dread. Anyway, they never hear what I've just said. If they, for 1 second, would put themselves in my shoes, they'd already be dead. I don't need that hanging over my head. And this last one is called Guilt. Did I do enough? Could I have done more? As you both stood on that slippery slope, that was once a level floor. The answer to the question you ask, it isn't nope. Gone too soon at 93, not your time at 86. I know things happened that made you sick. Call it a natural progression towards an inevitable end. A family in splinters. It was just a matter of when. And right around the holidays that you held so dear, oh, the irony. Surviving relatives no longer so near. Settling the estate is now my goal. Compassion gone. I told my remaining relative exactly how I felt. Gone was my self-control. Paper signed, assets liquidated. My desire to know how much I was loved has now been satiated. Totally free of all that stress, as I look back on what was, all I can say is, what a fucking mess. I am a survivor, always, doing what I had to do. Digging in the dirt, hiding my emotions so I would not get hurt. I'm digging one last hole, slowly at my own pace, to give these last remaining emotions their final resting place. Thank you.
All right, this is our final microstory and our final performer. Tell us about a time you were in disbelief. Trump. All right, our final performer of the evening. Please put your hands together for Lillian. Lillian, come on up.
Tonight I have something a little bit different than the kinds of things I usually do. So here we go. In my opinion, two of the best words in any language are mommy and daddy. So pure and simple, sweet and gentle. Nothing else sounds like them or touches your heart so deeply. But within 5 or 6 years, the dependency that held you so close begins to change as your child, like a toffee pull, slowly yearns for independence. And mommy and daddy become mom or dad. My son will turn 60, yes, 60, on Sunday. And I could not help but recall that time in his life when mommy became mom. About 55 years ago, after I tucked him in for the night, I wrote these words. The title is Notes on Approaching the Advent of Childhood's End. Bubblegum and records danced while dump trucks soared past houses fallen out of building blocks. Coloring books were dazzled by crayons, which waltzed and sometimes raced through thick black lines that strained to contain brilliance. Puzzles pieces leaped in place as button eyes of teddy bear flirted with computer games. Action figures of all kinds enjoyed jelly beans' delights, then paved the way for dinosaurs to trample cookie crumbs. Saddle shoes reigned in the closet of dreams until morning's rays whispered a secret to the pillow. Lullaby's blanket cradled lollipop's tears, since armies of Band-Aids could not envelop the memory of time.
Submission, if we can spare 4 more minutes. Is that okay? All right. Okay, we have our final performer of the evening. Please give a very warm welcome to Sarah. Sarah, come on up.
I didn't realize you actually had to walk up and give the piece of paper, so that's why. Cool. Okay, so this is my first time reading. I wrote this poem for someone who's been a part of my life since childhood. It's about friendship, change, and the way feelings can grow over time. The piece is called Seasons of You. The rays of sun hit your eyes differently. A smile softly unfurls. The seasons are always changing. Life is in constant flux. But one thing has remained the same: our friendship. Your eyes always had so much to say. Reading you made sense, but today the light shines more brightly than ever. I always knew our friendship ran deeper than blood, but today it was more than that, more than just friendship. Friendship used to be all that I wanted, but now I've had it for a while, and like the flux of the seasons, I've had a change of heart. Today, I see your eyes in blue, underneath all the layers of brown, loyalty, hope, and inspiration, but most importantly, a future, softly unfurling like that of your smile. Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, so thank you so much. Got a lot of deep sighs. This is an exceptionally emotional evening. Can we have a big round of applause for everyone who performed? All right, I am so grateful to be your host for this event month after month. And we have a couple more months until we round out the year. So for October, we'll be here October 16th. That theme will be caution and courage. And then also we've got this wonderful printout, which I'm sure is on that table back there. Take a photo of it, write it down, with the rest of the dates for the remainder of the year, and then also the themes that correspond with them. So again, our next meeting will be October 16th, caution and courage. That's what we're going to be doing. So thank you so much to the Arts Council of Princeton for keeping your doors open so late. Yes, thank you. A big thank you to Fiona and Melissa for doing all of the work that you do and recording this and making sure that other people can see it, even if they're becoming a tradesman or new masons or whatever he's doing. A very big thank you to all of you who came just to listen, and a big thank you to those who shared. My name is Brass Rabbit. I hope to see you on the 16th, and please get home safe. Have a wonderful night.